Hello, guys. Today we have with us Akansha Kohli, and she's from Karnataka. And today we have her, and let us just talk about some talks regarding cricket, and then we can move to a few professional talks, and then some personal talks. Okay. So cricket is religion in India. I mean, people
So,
take it as a religion. Okay, and so how has it been for you till now, the career? I mean, from the start.
as you said, cricket's a religion in India. For me, I started liking cricket because of my father. He used to love cricket and the enthusiasm and with passion and what passion used to watch the matches. That kind of inspired me to take up the sport at a very young age. I was a gully cricketer all my life.
Okay.
Then when I came to Bangalore, I had only friends who were guys. So we used to only play on the roads till 1, 2 in the night, till somebody chased us or cops came and chased us in the night. Every
So
summer
that has
holidays, I'd
happened.
go.
Cops
Oh,
have.
yeah, yeah.
Cops have.
Cops, because the neighbors used to get disturbed and we were kids. So we used to make a lot of noise, break windows, and jump from one wall to another to fetch the ball. And I used to, every summer holidays, I used to go to Amritsar since that's my native. I'm from
Right.
Punjab, Amritsar.
Right.
So I used to go every summer holidays and play. So he was prepared. My nana used to be prepared. Ki, Acha, she's coming from Bangalore and she's going to be breaking glasses. So I am going to be ready with new set of windows, paints to be fixed. So that was my journey, how it started with.
And at the same time, Bangalore mein to it is possible to play in gully. And Amritsar, they have big terrace and all, and you can just.
Uh, वहाँ पे everybody has koti. There is no apartment system or
Hmm.
all that. There's this gully and there is
Hmm.
koti. And I had a big koti there. And my nana had a big backyard, a huge garden.
Hmm.
And that was sufficient for us to play cricket.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen many cricketers from Punjab and they just practice nowadays. They are uploading those videos and they are just practicing on their, they say kotha. I mean, the word says kotha, and
That's
they
correct.
just play over there and they practice over there. And it's at the same time, the atmosphere is also great in the morning at Punjab.
Yeah,
Like kind
yeah.
of cool and calm they get. As compared to the
It is.
city part, city part is not
It
that
is.
great.
Punjab
Yeah.
has its own flavor. Bangalore has its own essence to it. So yeah,
Mm. Right. So every athlete goes through some or the other bad phase in their life. We say it
right.
as a lousy phase of in their life. So
Mm.
one such situation might have come, and you have learned a lot from such situation. Can you just give me an instance of it?
Well, I wouldn't say a bad phase or a lousy one, but one such, it's for me, I mean, not just for me, but for any athlete or a player, there is a phase where they go through when it comes to injuries,
Hmm.
and that is something that you just, I think every player in any sport has gone through something or the other, which is
And
happened the same with me.
being a fast bowler, you are
You're always
obvious to
prone
get
to, yeah,
yeah,
because when you're playing a sport, you cannot be conscious, you cannot be careful कि अच्छा नहीं मैं ये करूँगी तो गिर जाऊंगी या लग जाएगा मुझे. Because when you're playing, especially when you're playing for Karnataka or any state for that matter, you are representing, you have a certain responsibility towards it. So we do give 100%, and that's exactly why you love. That's why they say being a sports person is like a boon, because you learn so much, you understand team, you understand discipline, you understand so many things. So for me, the phase is in 2018.
okay.
2018 Jan, when we were playing the T20 season in Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
We were at Alur and we were playing Kerala.
Okay.
And this was not a must-win game for us, but it was important for us to win to qualify to the knockouts.
Mm.
And that's where I injured my knee. I had a really bad ACL tear, and that was the first time ever that I was actually taken in the ambulance from the field. And I've never been injured that way in my life ever before in any I played tennis for 11 years. I've been a national player for a long time. I've played hockey at state level, but I've never had such an injury before. I've been having fractures. I've had all these, small tendon tears, and very used to it.
Right.
But this was something which was pretty scary, and I didn't know much of ACL before that. But I would say that phase, it was obviously I was very upset because you were in a lot of pain. You don't know. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is the career-threatening injury," and I've had a stress fracture before in my back, but it's never been this way. So this phase actually taught me a lot of things. And it kind of put a lot of things on hold, and it kind of made me a stronger person. Like after that, I just had to make a decision whether to do surgery or not.
Okay.
Because I wanted to compete at the highest level. So my doctors were like, if you want to compete at the highest level, you got to take a call. You have to choose. And I was very thankful and lucky to have the right resources with me, who guided me, my physio, my doctor, my trainer, my parents, family, my friends were all with me at that point. And I decided to go against it because that's the time where I got a call from Fairbrake to represent my country to play that gender equality match in London. So I got injured in Jan, and I wasn't able to walk. I was on a crutch. I was on walking crutches for about a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Because the feeling of the knee just buckling, I didn't know what it was, how it felt, and it was very scary when certain part in your body you just can't feel, and it's just moving, and you're like, dude, what is happening?
Yeah.
I kind of was afraid. At the same time, I was scared. And then suddenly, after a couple of months, I get a call from my sir saying, okay, this is an opportunity for you. I want you to come and meet these guys. They are here from London. And he's like, just come over to KIAC and I want to talk to you.
Okay.
And this happened. And, they're like, this is what it is. So now I want you to do. And I had it was in May. I just had 4 months to recover. And I did it. I played. I went to London for a good 10 days. My mother accompanied me for those games, and I went for a holiday to Scotland also. Right. But yeah, so I mean, out of all these years, there have been ups and downs where you don't do well in a season, where you get out a lot of times, where I've got hit a lot of times. But I think one turning point in my career, one phase where where it changed me as a person, my outlook, my thinking as a player. And after ACL, till now I've not done the surgery, and
it's working.
And it's perfect. I run faster than so many people. At this age I'm fitter than so many people, so many players, and I'm able to give my best. I'm playing my best cricket now, and I feel the most fit at the moment. Before I didn't have any injury. So.
But during this phase, after you got this, deciding to not go for surgery and going to London and then coming back and playing for Karnataka. During this phase, was there any point of time when you get that pain back, or there was no such instance?
It took me a good 9-10 months to recover fully, to get my strength back, or maybe even longer, because till I went to London, I wasn't fully fit, but I was fit enough to play. Just one game I had to play.
Right.
It was just one main match and a couple of practice sessions. So I went through it pretty easily. But I had pain. Even I still remember those times where when I used to sleep in the night, I used to jerk thinking I'm falling.
Right.
Because that experience of, and the way I twisted it was during fielding in my own bowling when I had to take somebody run out.
Right.
I just went to near the square leg to throw back, and in that motion when I turned, my body didn't turn, my spike got stuck, and it just, my knee literally went a 360 and came back.
Oh.
That's when I heard a kadak, and I knew, that it's a full.
That's gone.
Yeah, I knew there's something wrong.
Right.
And I'm a pretty strong person when it comes to pain, because I've been injured. As I said, being a player, you're prone to these things. So it's kind of instilled in yourself to have that good pain threshold. But that was an unbelievable
And
experience. But there was
at times when you get injured, the excitement level, like for example, you were injured and you had that opportunity to represent India in London at a very big stage. At that point of time, the excitement and the expectations that our coach has from us, that makes us like, okay, no, I'll do it. I'll do it. Somehow I'll do it. That is where the excitement and they play a great role, I would say. Like during any injury, excitement plays a great role.
That's true, because as I said, if that match wouldn't have come my way, probably I think I would have got the surgery done. Because I was in two minds, and so my physio just sat with me, and I think he was the only guy who sat with me, and he's like, think through it, because your surgery that you're going to do, there is no surgery that says ki this is never going to come back.
Right.
There is no hard and fast rule ki yaar, you will do a surgery today, tomorrow nothing will happen to you. Because doctors don't take that guarantee, right? It's just about how you train. So I had to do a lot of rehab and prehab and even surgery or no surgery, you have to do your prehab before the surgery, and you have to do your post rehab after the surgery. So if this match probably wouldn't have happened or didn't come my way, I would have probably done the surgery and maybe must have missed my season, because after surgery it takes you a while. But I was very fortunate to be lucky with my trainer and my physio, who really worked a lot on me.
Right.
And I was very dedicated. Like, you need to be dedicated to get through it. Otherwise, it's very difficult.
Yeah, that's true. Really true. Like we see that and any athlete gets injuries. Like all the athletes get injuries. Like
Right.
I have seen so many. Like for example, to the present fast bowler Shami Ahmed, Mohammad Shami, sorry. So he has got so many injuries during his career, but he just fights for it, and he just comes in and he just goes out, comes in, goes out. That phase, that goes on throughout your career, and for any athlete, it's same.
It just makes you mentally strong, as I said.
Right.
Your entire outlook towards things changes completely.
Right. So I can see that you are closely connected with your mother. I mean, everyone is, but I can see that the bonding is totally different between you and your mother. Might be like you treat each other as sisters. I would say that. So one such quality of her that you want to get in you, what would be that quality?
My mother is obviously my biggest inspiration. She's a fighter. And I think at this age of 55, she is super active. And I think one of the most positive person that I have come across.
Okay.
And I think I would love to have this quality in her of, just take any, if there's anything bad or sad happening in life, because everybody has ups and downs. They have certain phases where they're happy, they're not, things are fine, not fine, but her ability to turn every negative into a positive is just commendable. Right. She talks a lot about manifestation and talking to the universe, saying things to the universe, which has worked wonders for her.
Right.
So if I can just take even 20% of what she says and the way she conducts herself on a daily basis. She's a single parent for now close to 18 years now.
Oh.
And she's raised three of us with a lot of difficulties and a lot of pressure. And I mean, it's I can't imagine the kind of thing she must have gone through at that point of time. It is very hard for me to imagine or even ask her at that point of time. But it's just her life, the way she leads today. If I can just take 20% of it and make something out of my life, I think I would be set. Because I do possess a lot of qualities because I'm very much like her when it comes to emotional sensitivity, and I'm equally emotional and sensitive as she is. But even though she stood on her own feet today and become such a successful entrepreneur, having two businesses and raising three young girls, and 2 of them are married now. So I am bonding with her even more now.
Right.
Since both of us are left with my 2 dogs at home.
Right.
So I can just take 20% of the positivity that she has. And people love talking to her. Like, she's totally a people's person. Any
Okay.
problem, anything, people automatically just comes to her. And I'm like, I was like, you're like some Baba, you know, कि यार आ जाओ मैं सबका solve करूँगी. So
Right.
it's just
Right. You want a glass of water? You can take it. I guess it's okay.
no, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As you said that it has brought everyone closer, and lockdown has brought everyone closer, family members and other friends and all. So one such moment of lockdown that you think that might have not happened if lockdown had not been declared, one such moment, or maybe one such moment that you feel had not happened before lockdown.
I think getting to know yourself better, because just before the lockdown, just before the lockdown, I had my younger sister's wedding in Jan.
Okay.
Immediately that got over, we had practice for our season for 50 overs. Then we were traveling. I was away from home for close to a month when we were in Una. So I was just traveling, and it's like after that wedding, you know, for the things to settle inside you, now you're just left alone with your mom at home, and so there's a lot of responsibility on me, and there were 2 things probably. One is self-analysis of your own self, as to, you know, because you don't really get time in your day-to-day life because you're so busy with work, with fitness, with practice, cricket, and family and all of that. So there's not much time. I did get some time to catch up on my sleep because I'm a very light sleeper. But and another thing is this lockdown has brought me and my mom a little more closer. We bonded well, and though Veda and me meet quite often when we're in Bangalore, but the way we've spent time with each other since during this lockdown has been completely different.
Right.
Yeah. So, and as I said about baking before, I would have never done baking in my life ever. Like, my elder sister is a professional baker. So she's married in Japan now. But had it not been for the lockdown, I just wouldn't have touched baking.
And not even we might have got this mango ice cream.
Yeah, not at all. A lot of things actually. It's not one, but quite a few.
Right. And even your dogs got some time to spend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a boon for them because we worked from home. Though my office is just like 30 meters away from home, but they feel alone half of the day because you go in the morning, come in the afternoon, and then you come only in the evening, so you're hardly spending time. To them, it was like crazy. They just went mad saying, okay, now I have people with me for 2 months just at home.
Right. So what kind of business you are in? Like you said that you have been closely connected with the mother's business. So what kind of business she does?
So my mom's a fashion designer.
Okay.
And she owns a ladies' boutique.
Okay.
So we make ethnic wear and casuals and formals for ladies.
Right.
And this lockdown just obviously everything was shut. And I've been working with her now since 4 years. Before that, I was in an MNC. I worked for Target, a company called as Target.
Target, yeah.
Yes, they are like the second largest retailer after Walmart.
Recently, you represented in the gender equality game, like twice, 2018 and 2019. So, so how was your experience joining the stars coming from worldwide, and what kind of learnings you had in the match and all?
Honestly, I think I really enjoyed myself because I was pretty excited to go to London. I've never been to UK and I've heard so much about the city. That was my first time and I was pretty excited, and even more excited because I've never heard of a gender equality game before.
Mm-hmm.
and it was something different, something unique, something new. And I got to play with Alex Blackwell, and that time I played when she had just retired from international cricket, just after the World Cup.
Right.
And I had a very good opportunity to interact quite closely with her, with Susie Bates, with a lot of other people who were closely associated with women's cricket. And it was really amazing to see how they went about their game, how they went about their practice sessions, to the net sessions, to the match. Even though the competition, I wouldn't say was pretty tough, though for us as a team, we had players from all over the world with different strengths and different kind of players we had. So we made one team, but learning from her, Charlotte Edwards, Tahuhu, all of these guys were part of the first edition of Air Break. So it was really nice to get to know how things work in other countries.
Right.
Because we playing in domestic don't really have that opportunity to interact with other players unless you play India or higher level to even get to know about their culture, about their practice, about how they go about with their team. And I really enjoyed the experience both the years. Second year I got to meet Sanami, which was she's pretty down to earth person. And a lot of fun. Like she loves Turkish food, and we hung out together for a lot of Turkish food there. And it was good fun because first we played in London, second time we played in another city, so we were away quite far. We played in Wormsley the first time, second time we played in a different place. So it was good.
Right. I am not saying that you should not follow, but many women cricketers, they follow male cricketers for either for techniques, either for the kind of experience that they have. Like I have seen over a period of time. So have you been following any of the male cricketers, like for the bowling technique?
I used to love copying Brett Lee. He was like my idol when I started picking up pace bowling.
Right.
And I used to love the way his run-up was. I used to literally copy him in the mirror. And Alan Donald. I was a big fan of Alan Donald from South Africa.
Right.
Especially his jump. I used to find it like really... I used to wonder how he could bowl with that jump when he comes just before the release. So yes, since all of us have been brought up and been a part of that era where we followed Sachin, Leke Sehwag, and all of these Steve Waugh, and I've mimicked a lot of them. But Brett Lee has been one of them who's been my idol, and I'm also a big Sachin fan, so I've tried to mimic his batting style.
So is it like Sachin in one of his interviews, he said that he started as a bowler. He wanted to be a bowler. He wanted to be a fast bowler. Then he started spinning and he recognized that he's good at batting. Just like Steve Smith, he started as a spinner initially, as a leg spinner, and then he used to come down 7 down or 8 down in the batting list, and then people recognized like he's good at batting. And he shifted his. So was it the same for you? Like you started as a batsman and then went on to go for a fast bowling?
For me, I was very clear. I wanted to be a fast bowler. Even when we were playing gully cricket and stuff, I was pretty good at it because I had a very natural action. I didn't have to. It is not something that I had to work hard towards. I had a pretty natural action, a good arm swing. So it kind of. Because I was playing tennis for such a long time.
Right.
I played tennis for close to 11 years. So it was right there for me. And since I've been playing cricket since I was 4. So for me, I was clear that I wanted to be a fast bowler. I couldn't, even though I tried my hand at spinning, but that is something that I can't. Because I know so many players who eventually become spinners. There's so many in my own team who started their career as a bowler and who became spinner. But for me, I started my career as a fast bowler and I ended also with a fast bowler.
So, similar. as in the initial introduction I said that you have represented for RCB alongside the other players at the inauguration match. Okay, not inauguration, exhibition match, right? So how was it like? How was that experience of playing with? I guess Virat and AB were there. ABD and Chris Gayle were there.
No, the main guys weren't there because they were playing their respective country games. But I did have Stuart Binney, Arvind, Iqbal.
Okay. Abdullah,
yeah. Chahal.
Chahal.
There was one more guy. This Sarfaraz.
Yeah.
So we as I said, Karnataka has been so good in promoting women's cricket. They've been a great association. So they used to have these practice games with the corporate teams just before a T20 season. And we, I think, had reached the finals, and we lost to one corporate team there. So I didn't even know, that they were going to select Diva of the tournament, and that Diva is going to get to play an exhibition game. So it was like I was the only girl in the team playing with all the boys. So they had 4 or 5 players from RCB, and then they had another, like how they selected me from my team, they had selected other guys from different corporate teams. So we were a team of 11. Right. And we were playing with the winner of that corporate team.
Okay.
So I picked up 3 wickets in that game. Right. And that was my first time ever that I played under floodlights in KCA. And there was quite a bit of a crowd who had come to see us. It was like proper IPL atmosphere. And I didn't even know, like, after the tournament, they were going to have this Diva of the tournament.
Okay.
And I had done well in that tournament with the bat and the ball. So.
Okay, so with the bat as well.
Yeah. I'm an all-rounder. Like, I bat middle order, around 5-6 down.
Okay.
So
you're kind of hitter. You come and just start hitting.
I used to be given a tag of a hitter, but now I like finishing the games, because now when you're in your side for a long time, you kind of become more responsible over a period of time.
Yeah.
So I used to be a hitter, but now I still like that part of the game, hitting. See the ball, hit the ball. I go for 4s and 6s, but now it's become more 1s and 2s game.
Like you have gone to a next stage where you are quite responsible, and
I've realized that I can, when my team needs me the most, because most of the time I go when we have a collapse of 5-6 wickets down, and then I have to go and steady the ship. I've found myself in the situation a lot of times now. So I kind of have got used to that pressure and, getting that 1s and 2s game, and when getting close, I still love hitting 4s and 6s.
You are like Dhoni. Yeah. Dhoni initially came as a hitter, and then he went on to become a kind of responsible person and to drive throughout the innings. Like nowadays, we see him either coming at the last point, or he's coming in the phase where there are like 5 down, 6 down, and he just come in and he just drives throughout the innings.
Something like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So as during the discussion, it happened to, we said that the women cricket has grown remarkably in the past few years after 2017 finals and all. So it shows that females are nowhere lesser than males. So anywhere and everyone is accepting that. I would say that, like, we have been closely connected with people in Mumbai, and they are accepting, and now names are quite familiar, like Smriti Mandhana, Veda Krishnamurthy, our captain, and all the players, like they are now remembering the names. But when you started, like, were there any criticism from your family members or any others? And like at that point of time, might be possible that cricket for women were not that great happening in India. Okay. So were there any dual thoughts in mind that ye chalega nahi chalega, and how did you fight and how did you come out of it?
This is a situation which most of the girls go through today in this generation. But that wasn't it wasn't the case with me, because as I said, I've been very lucky to have been born in a family who's supported me all my life when it has come to my sporting career. I've been in sports all my life, but for me, biggest change was from tennis to cricket, which was a tough decision to make, because I was just entering the international tournaments in tennis at that point. But I chose cricket that time because I wanted to try my hand out at that. And I've just stuck on till then. So I've not had a lot of family pressure. My sisters and my mom have been very, very supportive of what I've decided. Because eventually I didn't want to, be like, Kash, main wo karti tab. And, didn't want it to be, I should regret my decision tomorrow. So I went for it completely. But yeah, it is a very sad situation for a lot of female cricketers where they have to face a lot of pressure, because cricket is something which is not fetches you a lot of money, at least at that point. Now it's a different ball game. But now is also, I would say, at a domestic level, there's still a lot of scope where they can do much better. And BCCI is doing their best to support the domestic cricketers as well. But if you made it to the country, then nothing like it, because this is, I think, the perfect time for girls to pick up the sport and excel in it. But I wouldn't say, yes, visibility wise, women's cricket has got a lot more visibility from 2017, but I think it's also the hard work of the former players, as you said. It's a process that has been happening for so many years that the fruit today's generation is eating. But I think we should also give them a lot of credit for the way women's cricket has evolved. Because initially, earlier also, there are still people who talk about Aniti David, about Anjum Chopra, about Reema Malhotra, about that team which also reached the finals in 2005, I think.
Right. So that was quite far. A long time ago, 2005.
Yeah, that's like 15 years ago, when India made finals earlier as well. But it's just that media wasn't into the picture. It's all because of the media today that, there has been so much coverage and interviews and endorsements. A lot of sports management companies are approaching these cricketers today.
Right.
And Instagram, like, you didn't have social media at that time. So you have Instagram going mad, you have Twitter going mad about these guys, and also the men cricketers are taking an effort to talk about female cricketers and doing interviews with them. So there's a lot happening right now. It's amazing to see.
Right. Actually, at times we are like short of motivation. It happens. Like, everyone has that. So whom do you meet, or whom do you go to when you are short of motivation?
I don't think you can go to someone for motivation, because that's something that comes from within. So I wouldn't say that I would go to somebody to, it's not like something that you go search, look around, motivation, where are you? Where can I find you? But I think for me, it would just be because of lately, I have lost motivation to work out. I'm not getting that, that zeal and that energy to, because I'm a fitness freak. I love working out. I love running. But of late, I've not, been in that phase to do anything. So for me, I think it's just about doing what I like. I love hanging out with my friends, talking to them. I love being in my own bubble, my own world. I love watching TV. I love PS4. I've been playing a lot of PS4. So it's just, for me, it's about getting my mind at that particular level. I can think straight, okay, and that's how it's going to be. I do watch a lot of videos at times. I do talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of different people. But I wouldn't say there's that one person who I go to. I just go to my people who I'm comfortable with, who I'm closely connected with, and that's what makes me feel good. It's all about feeling good at the end of the day.
Right. Someone is calling you, I guess.
That's my dog who's barking.
Right. Okay. So Uh, so, do you prefer being a bubbly Punjabi girl or introvert, or maybe in between the two? A fusion of two.
See, I am a Punjabi, but a lot of people say there's nothing Punjabi about me. I do know Punjabi, not very fluently, but I am an introvert by nature. But over the years, that's not been the case with me. Since I've met so many people, I kind of try to talk. But I like being the total bubbly Punjabi girl, and I would say more than a Punjabi girl, it would be more a Bollywood person. Like I'm an absolute Bollywood buff.
Right. So you like dancing, like you did recently, like Bhangra and all those stuff.
I love dancing. That's something that probably if I wouldn't have been a cricketer, I might have become a choreographer.
Right. And two things that is famous in Punjab is one thing is food and other is dance. These two things, if they get, they have got their life.
Absolutely.
Right. So, what kind of bond you carry with Veda Krishnamurthy?
I think now everybody knows that we are the best of friends.
Thanks to Instagram.
There's no hiding from that, or there's no wrong or false information about it. Both of us are very extremely close, a bond that only both of us understand a lot, and we fight. How much we are close to each other, we fight that much as well. I have a very different bond with her. Initially, I never liked her. She played for Karnataka when I started, and then she moved out to play for Railways. So I have seen a very different Veda Krishnamurthy at that point of time, what I was introduced to the person that she is today. It's been a long journey with her. I think I've known her more than 10 years.
Right.
But we've been closely connected to each other for probably 6 to 7 years. And it's a very different bond that we both share, because we both are true Bangaloreans. That is one main thing we connect with each other. We love the Bangalore language. We love the Bangalore food.
Okay.
She's a total Bangalorean. I'm a total Bangalorean. Both of us are locals. We love going out.
Right.
We love going and hanging out in cafes and just chilling, because the life here is completely different. I wouldn't choose any other city apart from Bangalore. And she shares the same feeling as I do. So that is a main reason how and why we connected. I never knew Kannada, even though I played for Kannada for so many years. I never learned Kannada as such. But thanks to her, that because she's abused me so much being in Bangalore for 20 plus years, not knowing Kannada, that I've actually finally made an effort to learn and become not completely fluent, but little bit. I do make
at least you get that bad words that she's trying to say to you, and you're learning that.
Bad words I learned. That's the first thing I learned in my team, and that's the first thing I learned in Kannada. I mean, I think that's the case with any language.
Right. हाँ, सामने वाला गाली दे रहा है तो मेरे को कुछ समझ में तो आए.
समझ में तो आना है, और बोलना भी तो चाहिए. टीम में तुम खेल रहे हो, तुम्हें गाली देना है बैट्समैन को, तो एटलीस्ट यू कैन ना say.
Then it happens like, okay, you give gali in your language, I'll be in mine. Okay, and Punjabi गाली मैं दूंगी, तू कन्नड़ा में दे, मैं पंजाबी में दूंगी.
तो मेरा तो बहुत मजाक उठता है टीम में कभी-कभी for not knowing Kannada and being a fake Punjabi, because I mean, though I am born and brought up there, just for 3 years I was in Punjab. Apart from that, I've just been in Bangalore. I was in Pune for about a year, and then I moved to Bangalore.
Right.
It's been 22 years, I guess.
That's a long time now. I mean,
yeah.
And they should treat you as a Bengaluru only, not a Punjabi now.
That's true. I'm a total South Indian.
Okay, you like food, South Indian food?
I love South Indian.
Okay.
I think I'm the only one at home who's got a thing for South Indian food. Like, I love it.
Right. And what about Punjabi food? That's also
I'm a total foodie. I like Punjabi food as well. When I get bored, like when I go to Veda's house, there it's only mudde and they're authentic. That's the kind of food that we don't make at home. because my family is obviously not South Indian. They like their rajma chawal, kadi chawal, methi aloo. So I have my favorites. I have my parathas at home. I go to a house and I have it with South Indian food. I love my South Indian food. I'm a total South Indian.
Right. It's a fusion of two things. I would say.
Both.
Fusion. Right. So, have you ever been, or have you ever got a chance to play with legends like Mithali Raj?
Yeah, I've played with Mithali quite a few times. Obviously against her, and I've also got a chance to play one of these NCA games. I've been captained by her. Yeah, I've been got a good opportunity to play against her. Recently, we played Railways, though we lost badly that game, but we played again Mithali, Poonam. The entire half of the Indian side was there at that time. We played Bengal as well. I played Julandi also.
Right.
I've been lucky, yes.
So actually, my next question you have already answered. I am just judging it because if I say that one of the achievements you feel the best one of your life, I think you would be telling that London wala game. Or it's something else.
Well, London wala was something that just came my way. It's not something that I expected it at all. It was very unexpected for me. I didn't even know there was something like this. But I think for me, the biggest achievement would be when we Karnataka reached the T20 finals. And we lost against Punjab by 5-6 runs. But that was the first time ever in the history of our state where we entered a T20 finals in such a big platform. That's something that I won't forget. I had Veda watching the game, Mona watching the game, Bhima commenting that game, which was aired on Star Sports, and it was in Wankhede. So everything was like a perfect setup for us. It's just that we just had to win. We lost by just 5 or 6 runs, but that defeat still kind of hurts. But that has been, I think, my biggest achievement as a team playing that.
Right.
And fabric.
Right, and fabric. And Wankhede is something everyone wishes to play at least once in their life.
Absolutely. Like, we were more excited one that it was aired on TV on Star Sports, and you had Anjum Chopra, and you had Rima, and other main commentators also commentating at the same time. So, and it was the first time it was aired for us. So, and I had Veda just come down from the India tour just to watch the game, who landed in Mumbai just to see her Karnataka play the final with Punjab. So it was like a perfect setup.
Right. Okay. So can you just give me an good see, you have been playing for KPL for past how many years now?
KPL has been, I guess, 2-3 years.
2-3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
So, what kind of difference you see in you after representing for one of the teams in KPL? Like, does it affect your game overall, or does it?
KPL, see, because one thing is obviously when you're playing KPL, you're playing with your own teammates. You just make 2 teams from Karnataka, make the best 11, 12, 13, 14, how many ever players, and you're playing against each other. So KPL has taught me in a way to be more responsible, because when you're playing for your own team is different, because you have a set batting order. You know what role you play in that team. But when you're playing a tournament like KPL, where you are playing with youngsters, and those youngsters are actually looking up to you. So that's the time where you get to groom them, spend some time with them in the middle, when you're bowling, batting, playing. So KPL kind of did teach me to play under pressure, because I still remember the 2018 season of KPL was the most memorable. Because that's the time where the franchisees came into the picture, where you had Mysore Warriors, Bijapur Bulls, Belgavi Panthers. Like, there were 4 franchisees we were representing.
Right.
2 games we were playing, and one day was one franchisee, the next day was another franchisee. And that game, we also had Women of the Match, Player of the Match awards,
Right.
just like how the men's setup is.
Yeah. Just
And
like
there were like,
IPL, kind of IPL.
yeah, just like that. And we played just before the finals of KPL took place in Mysore,
Right.
in the Gangotri Stadium. And that's where things turned around for me in my team, because we were chasing a very meager total of about 98 odd, and we were already 7 down. Just had 3 wickets in hand, and we needed close to 50-60 runs from about 10 overs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a game which we had lost, and that's the game where I kind of, last over we needed 7 runs. In the first ball, I hit a 6 to a pacer. So these are the things, that even though it is not a big game, it's just like an exhibition for us.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the things that teach you and take your confidence to another level, which helped me when I played the state matches.
Right. So I'm just taking you to the next phase of our discussion. Just before that, there is one question that just popped in my mind. So in 2011, I remember the finals in Wankhede when Dhoni hit that 6. And Ravi Shastri announced India wins. Like that commentary still rotates somewhere. It runs in my mind. So and at that point of time when we won, it was like we thoroughly enjoyed. Like there was drums, there was Shehnai outside our house, and we were like dancing and all those things happened. Like how was it for you? Like it was the same kind of Jasna kind of thing for you, or it was like, okay, like something has happened and it's good?
I think I still remember when the 2011 finals were happening. I think we friends were watching it together, and the moment India won, we took off to MG Road. So MG Road is the road in Bangalore. I'm sure you must have heard that. It's Chinnaswamy Stadium is.
Yeah.
And when we went there, the entire public of Bangalore was in MG. Cops couldn't do anything. It was jam-packed. People are on the car dancing, and they're on the road dancing. Like it's like a proper carnival.
Right.
And that was, I think, one of the most memorable moments in cricket history, when we won the World Cup, and we took off at night about 1:31, and everybody was partying, dancing on that road till 3 in the morning. I don't think we slept that night, but yeah, it was a night to remember.
Right. Okay. So as I said that I'm taking you to the next phase, like where we usually kind of do some fun activity, and not since we are on online. So we'll just ask you a few questions. Like we call it as a rapid fire round. As sad as rapid fire round, everywhere this is kind of, every interview has a rapid fire round, and we call it as rapid fire round. So like bowling में तो speed आपकी देख ली. Let's see how you do it. How rapid you are in our this.
I'll try my best.
Right. Okay. Your take on Indian women's cricket team?
Amazing. I think the team to beat.
Your take on promotions given to the women's cricket team?
A great job. A lot more can be done, and they should do it.
Right. Who is your favorite among the current women's cricket team except Veda?
In the Indian team?
Yeah.
I like Harman.
Okay. Right. Okay. What makes you unique among the others in the group?
What makes me unique? I think I don't know.
Come on, yeah. You have been a diva, and you have played. From your team, and you have played for that match. But there should be some uniqueness that you feel.
I think I crack a lot of PJs that people don't laugh at. So maybe that might.
Can you go ahead and give an example?
No. I can't.
Don't worry, it won't be ad.
That'll be very embarrassing. But I don't know.
At least
I
someone,
myself,
everyone should know that who is, I mean,
Akanksha Kohli.
Akanksha Kohli.
No man, my PJs are actually damn sad. Sometimes I wonder, like, dude, what's wrong with you?
It's okay.
Like, I can get really crazy at times. People, especially for the people who know me. For others, I'm very normal, this very decent, good girl. But the people who know me, I'm a very crazy person.
Right. Okay. All right. But at the end,
Let's just leave it to that.
At the end, I like to hear one PJ. Just remind me.
That comes in the flow. Let me think. Okay.
Yeah.
I shall
Okay. All right. Who knows everything about you other than your mom? And yeah, okay. I won't say Veda in this. Veda is one who knows much about you.
Yeah, I think it's her and my mom knows Veda. Apart from that, I guess my sisters.
Your favorite cuisine?
I'm a biryani person. I love biryani. And
Do you,
Chinese.
Chinese. Okay. Do you like cooking? And if yes, then which dish do you think that you cook better than anyone else?
I'm a very moody person, and my cooking comes from the mood. But I don't like cooking. I started liking baking. But if I would cook, then I would cook a chili chicken.
Okay. Your favorite movie?
K3G. I love K3. And Hum Aapke Kaun. Oh yeah.
That music of K3G.
Yeah, I made a lot of fun of it, but yeah. Hum Aapke Kaun is like my all-time favorite. I'm a Salman Khan fan.
Okay. So, I mean, one of my questions are answered like, who is your favorite film star? And it would be Salman Khan.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Any famous dialogue of him that you remember till now, and you can just you can enact one of them if you can.
Famous dialogue of Salman Khan. I love copying his dance, what he does in Bodyguard. I don't know, the Chipkali wala dance. No, but I think he cracks a dialogue ना कि मैं एक बार ही कमिटमेंट करता हूँ तो अपनी की भी नहीं सुनता.
Yeah, एक बार जो मैंने कमिटमेंट कर दी तो फिर अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता.
Correct.
Right. But that's a unique name that you gave to his dance.
Yeah, that Chipkali wala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you prefer, like, have you ever been going for Hollywood movies, or you just prefer Bollywood?
I like watching Hollywood. I love watching Hollywood movies, but I'm a Bollywood person.
Right. Okay. So, do you like binge watching?
I love binge watching. Like once if I get glued, like I would say just 3 days ago I was watching The Last Dance about Michael Jordan, and I got so glued to it that I slept at 4 in the morning. I love binge watching. Like I love my Netflix and Prime.
So have you ever watched Game of Thrones or Friends or any other series?
Friends, it's like my sister's, both my sister's favorite time. I've seen it like a million times. Game of Thrones, I took a while to watch because initially I never understood it. But yes, I've seen the whole season.
Overall, a lot of people. First season and second season is like you need to get glued with it to understand what is happening.
I think you need to pass a few episodes to get a hang of it. So I kind of had a little patience because I remember my sister telling that wait for 2-3 seasons to go, then you'll understand. Yeah. I was like, if I have the patience, I'll do it. Otherwise, thank you.
Yeah, same thing happened with me also. Like when I started watching GOT, like my sister said that पहले 2 season तक तेरे को कुछ नहीं समझेगा. And just remember what has happened in last 2 seasons, and then you will start understanding कि हाँ third season में ये हो रहा है ना.
Right.
Right. So, where do we see Akanksha in free time? Like, are you on your bed or with your friends or with your family or with all? I mean, you like all?
I love, when I'm free, I love spending time with my friends. I love hanging out with them and spending time. I'm also a family person. I've of late started to like staying at home, not just because of the lockdown, before that as well. But I like going out and exploring places. I like because Karnataka is one state which has a lot of places around that you can go for like a day's trip, 2 day trip.
Right.
I miss that trips when I go with my friends. It's like a good getaway, and I love just
Right. I mean, you
going
have places like Ooty, Mysore,
a
uh,
lot. I mean, not just them; they're like proper cities, but you have small towns. Like I said, Chikmagalur, Kokarna is another great place to go to. And off late, I've recently got a bike. It's gonna be a year. So I love riding bike. I love my bullet.
right.
I love my Tano.
Right.
I
So,
just take the
so
bike.
there comes that Punjabi girl, like Danno, and coming in with a bullet and all. Like
Oh yeah, it's like a
after the age you
custom.
ask, like मेरा टाइम आ गया है, अब मुझे जो वो चाहिए जो सब पंजाबी लोग लेते हैं, and that's the bullet.
सिर्फ पंजाबी नहीं करते बुलेट, but I feel it's not very Punjabi thing, but there are very few who like bullets like as girls, and I love bikes. I've always been a fond of bikes, so I've never owned one, but finally I did, and it's so amazing, when people give you that attention, like yaar वो लड़की आ रही है यार वो bullet, and my bullet is really cool, like thanks to Veda she got me, but it's just amazing.
So it was a birthday gift.
It was a birthday. Yeah,
Right.
last.
Okay. So we would love to just give a good end to this conversation with just a couple of questions that we have left in our list. So you have been a commerce graduate, okay, and there has been a lot of rumors that sports people are either, I mean, they are not focused in their studies, and they have to get out of their studies to get customized with get connected with the sports. But I do think that every sports person needs to be at some level of their studies also, because it helps you out in the later stage of your career. So what is your thought on it? Like what kind of role studies play in a athlete's career?
Me being an athlete all my life, I don't think I've left any sport which I've not played. But I think how much importance you give to sports, it is equally important to give that much to your education, to your academics, because yes, what you learn in school and college is not something that you eventually are going to use it in life at some point. But yes,
Right.
it could be a career to you tomorrow. And even though I've been professionally playing tennis and cricket and hockey at some point. I hardly had attendance of 2%, 10% in college. Because I've been playing all my life. So, but I've never missed an exam ever.
Right.
I've always given my exams on time, whether it's in school or college. And I made sure I had a degree, a graduation, which can fetch me a job tomorrow.
Right. And at the same time, you have that experience of working in MNCs also.
Exactly. If not for my education, I don't think I would have got that opportunity to experience an MNC life. Though I wanted to make my career in cricket, and I still played at a higher level. But it is not an easy thing to manage both. But it does basically gives you an exposure towards a different part of life apart from just your sports. Because when it comes to sports teaches you a hell a lot of things. But apart from sports as well, there are certain aspects of your career, like as I said, in Target, what I learned, the experience that I had there, and now the experience that I'm having in a business front. It just teaches you and grows you as a person. That is something that I would like to tell today's generation, because a lot of people and students I see who really want to make it big at a high level in any sport for that matter, not just cricket, they prefer going to an open school, which is like, अपने टाइम पे उठो, अपने टाइम पे पढ़ो, and then play the whole day. I did, though I had an opportunity to choose when I was playing tennis to do an open school. But I mean, the kind of school life that the opportunity you get in a school life, that is something that I think every individual should go through, because that's something that stays with you forever. Like, I loved
Yeah.
my school.
Right.
And you get to make friends. You have to, be so systematic. This time to this time you have to study. Like
Right.
today, I met Veda's nephew when he was showing us his books, his new books for the new class. Like I miss that sometimes.
Yeah.
Packing your books and writing your name, new
Right.
sticker, and I think it's very important for every person to take your studies equally seriously.
Right. It like as you said that it just took me into a nostalgia. Like 31st May it is, like 1st June school start hone wala hai, and
That's why.
we start
And you're like so excited to,
yeah,
it's a new book की smell, और फिर वो pencil box में नई stationery आएगी तुम्हारी, and it's a
new
whole.
class, new friends. Okay, new friends नहीं होते, वही friends है, लेकिन new teachers.
Yeah, like
We'll have new textbook. We will learn something
it's
new.
it's just pretty exciting. I mean, I think it
Yeah.
is important to study. Not कि you have to be 100%, 90% decent. Parents को खुश रखो. But at the end of the day, parents also shouldn't pressurize the kids so much कि नहीं तुम्हें 90% ही लेके आना है. Or you have to become a doctor, or you have to become an engineer. I think that's an option that should be left to the kid to decide what they want to do.
And I think that the kind of hype that has been created, like I remember my days when I was in school, even if I get 80%, that was like commendable. People used to recognize me, okay, 80% I am not. But nowadays, if you're not getting 95%,
90.
then 95%, like even no one will recognize you. 90%, it's okay, I mean, everyone is getting that.
Yeah, because the competition has become so much. Everybody is like they're just like, it's like a race. They're just running every day, competing every single day with so many people.
Yeah.
I think that's where the lockdown kind of helped a lot of people to, there's a life apart from just competing, like slow down.
Right. Great. Thank you so much, Akanksha. It was nice talking with you. And,
same here.
I mean, we might ask you to join us again anywhere, any point of time during the year.
Anytime.
And,
just let me know. But it was great. I had a nice time chatting.
Thank you.